It was super late, like 2 or 3 in the morning. Everything felt quiet and sleepy, but I was out working. I drive around delivering pizzas and pasta for an Italian restaurant that never closes. They didn't have regular delivery drivers, so anyone free would take the orders. That night, that was me. This one delivery was pretty easy, just taking food to a house about 15 minutes away. Seemed short, but our boss wasn't big on short drives. He'd make us deliver food even if it took forever. I was driving down this really long, straight road, with music playing softly. Then I saw someone up ahead. A guy was standing right in the middle of my lane. As I got closer, I noticed he was waving his arms like crazy and sprinting towards my car. I got nervous and slowed down. My heart started pounding because the way he was acting, it was like he was really scared and desperate. I was driving on a narrow road with only one lane on each side. I had to wait for a few cars coming towards me to pass before I could move to the side. When I finally did, a man came up to my window and started hitting it. He was shouting that he needed help because he ran out of gas. He seemed really scared and his eyes were moving around quickly, like he was trapped. But there was something strange about him that made me feel uneasy. He kept asking for a bit of gas, saying he was stuck there. I felt like I should help him because he seemed like he needed it. But the way he was acting, being so pushy and a bit scary, made me feel unsure. When the road was clear, I drove past him carefully, making sure to stay far away. He looked like he wanted to follow me, but I drove off quickly because I didn't feel safe being around him. As I kept walking, I noticed a blue pickup truck parked by the side of the road. I remembered the guy I met earlier. Was that his truck? Was he waiting for me there? I felt really scared and unsure in my tummy. But I still finished delivering the stuff, even though I felt really shaken. After dropping off the food, I said thanks to the person and started walking back to my car. But then, I saw the same blue pickup truck across the street with its lights on. I felt super worried. I knew for sure the guy was following me now. I got into my car and drove off real quick, watching the truck behind me in the mirror. When I passed by it, I saw the guy in the driver's seat. He looked really mad and something about his face made me feel even more scared. I pushed the gas pedal hard. I just needed to get away from there as fast as I could. The blue pickup truck turned around and started following me. I was stuck on a long, straight road with no way out. My brain was racing, but I couldn't figure out how to get away. I felt trapped. I had to call 911, like, right away. My voice shook when I talked to the person on the other end. I told them about this scary guy following me in a blue truck. They said a cop was close by and I should try to stay calm. Every single moment felt like it lasted forever. I kept driving, looking straight ahead, and then I saw the police car's red and blue lights in my mirror. Finally some help. Just when the truck was almost passing me, the police car zoomed around the corner. The truck swerved and zoomed off, with a cop car racing after it. I stopped my car, feeling all jittery from all the excitement. I watched as the cop car chased the truck, hoping they'd catch the guy who scared me. After a while, I found out the guy got taken by the police. They discovered drugs, booze, rope, and cuffs in his car. Just thinking about what might have happened made me feel really scared. This whole thing made me different. It showed me that danger can be around, even when things seem normal, like when I was just delivering pizzas. I learned to listen to my gut and not be scared to ask for help if something doesn't seem right. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. I love driving. Sometimes, I'll just go for hours with no real place to go, just me, my music, and the open road. I live in Nebraska, so I often take these quiet roads that cut through the countryside, passing small towns and cities. Usually, I drive at night when there aren't many cars around. I've been doing this for 4 years without any problems. But one night, things changed. I'm a small 22-year-old boy, and I usually go on these drives all alone. They help me clear my head when I'm stressed or upset. They used to be an escape from my parents' problems with alcohol, but now that I've moved out, life's better. But on that night, I felt overwhelmed and stressed about personal stuff. I couldn't focus and felt restless around my girlfriend. So, I decided to take a drive. He said to be careful and not stay out too long because it was late. I drove around the city for about half an hour, but I still felt on edge. So, I headed north on those familiar dark roads. I kept a steady speed, being cautious in case of any deer jumping out. The fields were covered in snow, and the trees looked eerie in the darkness. It felt like something out of a scary movie, with no other cars in sight. I half expected to see a ghost or someone coming out from the trees. Around 11 o'clock, I planned to turn back home after reaching a roundabout. But then, I saw a car with its hazard lights flashing, a bit further down the road. It was dark, and the driver's door was wide open, with what looked like blood inside. I didn't see anyone around, and my phone had no signal. It was scary, being alone at night, seeing a car that seemed like someone had been hurt inside. I remembered all those crime shows I'd watched, and it felt dangerous. But a part of me worried that someone might need help. I slowed down and called out if anyone was there. At first, there was silence, then I heard a voice from the shadows, saying they were okay. But as I got closer, I noticed odd things. There was no damage to the car, despite the blood inside, and someone was quickly coming towards me from behind the car, wearing a strange mask and holding something. Without waiting, I hit the gas pedal hard, speeding away. I could hear the man shouting, but I didn't stop to listen. Glancing back, I saw not just one but two masked men, and they didn't look injured or anything. I drove like crazy, breaking speed limits, and made it to a Walmart parking lot. I called a friend who was a cop and told him what happened. He couldn't do much since it was out of the city, but he contacted the local police. My girlfriend was worried sick, but I stayed on the phone until the police arrived. I gave them my statement, but with no license plate or clear description, they had little to go on. I went home, scared those men might show up. Since then, I haven't heard from the police. I'm just glad I didn't get out of the car. I won't be going on late-night drives anymore, and I hope I never see those guys again. About 4 years ago, during my time in college, I used to make a 2-hour drive to visit my girlfriend at her university. The routine was set, leaving my campus on Friday afternoons to spend the entire weekend with her, then heading back to my dorm by Sunday night. Monday mornings meant an early class at 9 a.m., so my goal was always to be back in my own room by midnight. One particular Sunday, I stayed a bit longer at my girlfriend's place. When I finally hit the road to return to my campus, fatigue hit me hard. I tried to fight it, but the more I drove, the drowsier I became. It was getting seriously dangerous. I knew I had to stop and do something to wake myself up, maybe grab an energy drink or find a place to rest for a bit. I scanned the sides of the road for a gas station or a rest area. Eventually, I spotted an exit and took it, leading me to a quiet road. There was a gas station, but it seemed closed, lights off, no cars in the parking lot. Exhausted, I thought a short nap might help, so I reclined in my seat and closed my eyes. It felt like the best idea at the time. Suddenly, I snapped awake to find a car parked right next to mine. A weird feeling washed over me, like something was off. The guy in the car seemed young, maybe around 20, wearing a hoodie and a mask that covered his whole face. It wasn't a mask I recognized from anywhere. Instinctively, I felt like I had to leave. I started my car, and just as I did, the guy tried to open my door. Thankfully, it was locked. I quickly reversed and sped away. I saw him rushing back to his car in my rearview mirror, and my heart raced with fear, keeping me completely alert. Back on the freeway, the silver car began tailing me. I didn't speed up, but this guy came super close, like just 5 feet behind me. There wasn't another soul on the road, just fields and trees passing by. I cautiously picked up a bit of speed, and he did too. I switched lanes, and he mirrored my move. Then, out of nowhere, he rammed into the back of my car once, twice, 3 times. I was terrified, struggling to keep control. Up ahead, I saw a semi-truck and hoped for help. As we approached the truck, the guy swerved, zooming past both me and the truck. I slowed down, my heart pounding. I immediately called the cops, but I was so shaken that it took me a while to get through. An officer finally came, and I explained everything. They escorted me off the freeway to safety. I spent the entire night awake, waiting for my car to be towed and sorted out. I never found out what happened to that crazy driver. But one thing's for sure, I learned a massive lesson that night. Driving when you're dead tired, especially at night, is just asking for trouble. It's never worth the risk.